Hi, it's Jason from Catalyst Analytics Evaluation and Research. Today I'm going to show you just how easy it can be to turn stagnant, flat Excel data files, you know the type, the ones that we might be keeping on our desktop or stored in a database somewhere where stakeholders can't access them, those types of files, how we can quickly and efficiently and effectively bring those data files to life and put meaningful visualizations in front of decision makers so that the data can inform programming in our state or local education agency. What I've done here is I've imported a Microsoft Excel file containing student information. The student information, I'm going to quickly slide that file over onto the screen. As you can see, that student information file includes some information about my students and their scores using two educational games that they have access to in their district. It's a district-wide data file, so I have information about students in multiple school settings, school levels, and it also includes students who receive services outside of a general education classroom from time to time. So as we can see within Microsoft Excel, there's not a ton that we can do with this information without first possibly running a pivot table, developing some key calculations, and producing some charts using Excel's chart tools. But we also know that not all stakeholders and decision makers have the skills necessary to do all of those things within Microsoft Excel. So let's quickly turn back to a data visualization platform and take a look at ways we might be able to analyze and visualize that data quickly and effectively before putting it into the hands of those who need it most. So let's just quickly take our game score. We'll just drag and drop that here over onto the window. You can see that our total number of points throughout the last few years using these games totals more than 1 million. We're probably actually looking for something that's more of an average. So we can see here our average score is just over 30 points per game. Now we can think about what types of dimensions might be important to us. Where do we want to disaggregate this data? For example, is it going to be important for us to see how students performed by subject area using these educational games? That's something we can do here very quickly. As we can see here, our math and our social studies average scores, our students perform much higher on the math subject area when using these games. We might also be interested in the change across school years for students using these educational games. So we'll go ahead and bring that out to our view. One thing we might know is that 2014, 2015 scores are not relevant at this point as they all were attained during summer school. And I think we've got a crosstab that might allow for us to make an interesting visual that could be very impactful as math and social studies teams get together to plan for the upcoming school year. We'll quickly turn this into a bar chart so that social studies are presented together. I'm going to quickly duplicate this sheet because we might also be interested in how a student's classification, whether they receive services through an IEP or have ELL status, for example, how that might affect their scores on the games. So I'm going to go ahead and use this to disaggregate and filter our data. And I'm going to give my users a filter that they can use to take a look at the performance of certain students. For example, students with IEPs. I may also want to display the information for my individual students, possibly by school year, in a way that we might be able to filter for as it comes time to draw inferences from these data and to act on those conclusions. Last, I might also be interested in comparing the performance of students across different schools or different school levels. So I'm going to include these data points as well. So let's quickly just pull all of this information together in a way that might be impactful for our end users. So I've dragged my 3 visualizations. I'm going to draw in those filters. And I've now got a visualization that can be very effective for end users to make decisions informed by these data. For example, would my decision-making teams possibly want to analyze the performance of students with IEPs versus those in the general education population? This is one thing we can do easily with these current visualizations. I can see as I hover over average here, my general education students had an average across the 2 years of 56.04 points as compared to 53.54 for all students. If I bring that disaggregation up for students with IEPs, I can see a lower score for that group altogether of 48.52 on average. I may also be interested in my students with ELL status. There's information here that could be very meaningful for program directors responsible for activities aimed at those students. For example, in this case, it looks like our students with ELL status either aren't being given access to these games or perhaps aren't able to meaningfully interact with the games, maybe due to a language barrier. So some very interesting information there as well. It might also be of interest to disaggregate these data by school. I might be interested in knowing, for example, that Abraham Lincoln Elementary School's average across the 2 years far exceeded the district average. However, their performance from 2012 to 2013 actually decreased a little bit. On the other hand, Andrew Jackson Elementary School performance again exceeded the district average. However, performance across the 2 school years actually did increase, as seen across the district as well. I might also be interested in knowing that Dwight D. Eisenhower Elementary School, for some reason, sagged below the district average on these games. I might want to compare these data with multiple measures, perhaps demographic information, state test results, interim benchmark results, and things of that nature to learn more about what might be happening at Dwight D. Eisenhower Elementary. But from this data source, I can actually disaggregate further down and we can check something that we might be suspicious about. We may know that we have a number of students with IEPs at this particular school who have been struggling overall on some of our other markers. And it'd be interesting to pull that up here and see that, yes, on this particular marker as well, students with IEPs either aren't being given a chance to interact with the games or aren't performing very well when given the chance to show what they know and can do on these particular games. So that's it for now. We here at Catalyst hope you've enjoyed this presentation and hope it has you thinking about your own data sources and ways that just a little work to bring them to life might make a world of difference for your decision makers in your district and in turn the students and families that you serve.